Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing okay. This isn't an episode of Percussion Discussion. It's something a little bit different. Obviously, if you're watching this, then you'll know I host Percussion Discussion. We've done pretty well, been pretty successful over the last 3 years. 107 incredible guests, and long may it continue. But I think it would be a bit weird if I watched or listened to my own podcast. Obviously, you can watch and listen on YouTube and listen as a podcast. So I don't like the sound of my own voice. I don't think many people do like the sound of their own voices. So obviously, I do a lot of traveling around the country, gigging, doing different events. So I thought I'd share with you some of the podcasts that I like to listen to. These are just the drumming ones. There are some non-drumming ones, or still music, but I'm not going to talk about those today. Now, before everyone shouts at me, I'm not saying these are the best drumming podcasts out there. These are the ones that I like. They suit me, and I love listening to them. So I'm hoping some of you perhaps haven't heard of some of them. Give them a chance. Obviously, there's lots of podcasts. There's lots of room for everybody out there. So I'm going to give you my top five. And first of all, I'm going to start off in fifth place, if you like, my fifth favorite. I've been looking over Spotify, and you can kind of work out where they are. So in fifth place is the Drummers Only podcast. Drummers Only is a great drum shop in Scotland, and they've taken it on themselves to do a podcast. Now, I'm not sure how regular the episodes come out, but everyone I've heard has been really, really cool. The gentleman who hosts it really knows his subjects, so they get into some really deep subjects, and they make for some great questions, obviously. They've had some amazing guests. Carter McLean, I think Jason McGurr was the latest guest from Death Cab for Cutie. I think they have about 64, 66 episodes out from memory, and well worth checking out. My favourite episode was the Neil Wilkinson one. They got into some great subjects, and it made my journey go very, very quickly. So that is the Drummers Only podcast, and that's in fifth place for me. In fourth place is a hugely popular podcast I'm sure you've all heard of, and it is Drum with Mike and Eddie. Obviously, that's Mike Johnston and the UK's Eddie Thrower, two fantastic drummers and educators. And this one's a little bit different. They don't really interview anybody else. It's a conversation between the two of them. It gets nerdy at times, which is fine. We're all drum nerds. They get in deep into hardware, into cymbals, into what's life like on the road, how to prepare for a gig or a drum clinic, or it could be any subject. It could be as nerdy as drum heads, and I don't know. It could be anything. But really, really interesting. There's a lot of episodes to go through as well. I think I've got it written down as 114, if my memory serves me correctly. So you've got lots to choose from. They're around about an hour in length, and it's a weekly podcast. So you've got plenty of back catalogue to go at. Really, really enjoyable, and probably the most different of all the podcasts, because it's two pros talking about what they do best. So have a listen to that. And I know they have a Patreon affiliation, so that you can get some bonus content. And I think one of the cool things is you can actually sit in, obviously via Zoom or however they record it, when they are doing a podcast, which is a really cool little feature. So number 4 is Drum with Mike and Eddie. Number 3, this is a great one, and this is hosted by my good friend Dane Campbell. Dane is the son of Phil Campbell, former Motorhead guitarist, and is the drummer in Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons, as well as being a great podcast host. He's a great drummer as well, and I've always enjoyed seeing his gigs. Dane's Drum for the Song podcast tends to feature drummers from the heavier side of things, which I'm quite happy with. He's had some great guests from Mickey D, Nigel Glockler, Matt Sorum, of course, of Guns N' Roses, and some drummers that you might not be too familiar with the names, but they've all been really, really interesting. Dane is in no rush to get through these and takes his time. Some are up to an hour and a half long, so it might be worth doing them in a couple of sittings. Like mine, they're on YouTube as well, or you can listen in podcast form. I think Dane has about 45 or 50 episodes out. Obviously, he's a busy man playing with a great busy band, and family life and everything. So they're out about once a month. It's always something to look forward to. I really enjoy Dane's podcast. He too does the Patreon thing, with some great benefits, different tiers. I think the top tier, you go into a draw to win Motorhead beer. You win drumsticks. You win like a Zoom chat with Dane. Loads of cool things. So check that out. Always look forward to listening to that. Okie dokie. In second place, my second favorite, if you like, is really cool. And again, something quite different. And it's live from my drum room with my buddy John DeChristopher. If you don't know John, he was the vice president of Zildjian Cymbals for many years and has been an industry professional pretty much all of his life. John is a lovely guy, liked by everybody. Everybody knows him as well. And he's been doing his live from my drum room for probably a similar amount of time that I've been doing percussion discussion. It's different because John does it live on Facebook. So you kind of feel part of the conversation. People can comment and ask questions along the way, which is, a really cool thing to do. I think it's available in podcast form and again on YouTube. And in recent months, it's become part of the Modern Drummer family. So I think so it's Modern Drummer podcast and live from my drum room. If I've got that wrong, John, I do apologize. Lots of episodes to go out, 115 of them. And these could be anybody from Steve Gadd to Peter Erskine to Jerry Marotta to, I think, Sonny Emery was the latest one. But some of my favorite episodes are the one where he'll have multiple guests, up to 7 or 8 of the biggest drummers in the world. You just can't top that. Just incredible. So check out Live from My Drum Room by John DeChristopher, and you won't regret it. Honestly, it's some great viewing. So check that one out. Okay, drum roll. In first place, my favorite, hands down, my favorite podcast is the Drum History Podcast, hosted by Bart van der Zee. I only started listening to this one about 12 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. I'm a bit of a vintage drum nerd, and the title instantly grabbed me. And there's a lot to go out. 187 episodes. Bart speaks to different people. Not many. I tend to go for the famous drummers, or drummers, any drummers really, who have had a career. Bart tends to go for people associated with products, specialists in their field. It could be histories of great American drum manufacturers such as Gretsch, Ludwig, Slingerland, Camco. He's had Mike Ellis on from the UK talking about the history of Premier. It could be anything from the Ludwig Speed King pedal, and I think the latest one was the history of Black Swamp Percussion, who make orchestral percussion. But some an incredibly fascinating subjects. Bart puts a lot of work into this. He really studies his subjects and asks some great questions. Again, I think Bart does the Patreon thing with some where you get bonus episodes and extra bits of the at the end of the interview where he asks some different questions. So they are my top 5 favorite podcasts. Again, I'm not saying these are the best. I'm saying they're my personal favorites. And if you haven't had a listen to any of them, maybe if you're into podcasts, might be worth checking them out. Obviously, I haven't put myself in that list because I just don't listen to any of them. I know lots of people do, and I'm very grateful to everyone who does, of course. If you have any that I've missed off the list that you think should be in there, then please put it in the comments. I will gratefully take a listen or a look if they're on YouTube. And yeah, I think it's good to share the love, and I love drumming podcasts. So there we go. I hope this has been some help. If it hasn't, then hey, what can you do? Great. So have a nice weekend, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks. Bye.